Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Fadli Menti Mamat Zaini. As for 7873, I am from University Malaysia Terengganu. Want to present my video presentation is titled The Industrial Revolution, a Misnomer. In 1820s, the expression revolution industry was first used by French writer who wished to emphasize the importance of the mechanization of the French cotton industry that was taking place in Normandy and the North by comparing with the Great Political Revolution of 1789. Contrary to widespread belief, Kramak did not use the term in its conventional meaning. It acquired currency only after the publication in 1884 of Arnold Toynbee's lecture on the Industrial Revolution of the 18th century in England. Toynbee did not prepare the lecture of publication. Rather, they were assembled by some of his student disciples after he premature death in 1883. Nevertheless, the book sold readily and the expression immediately caught the public's fancy. Yearly description of the phenomenon emphasized the great invention and the dramatic nature of the change. As an 1896 textbook put it, the change was sudden and violent. The great invention were all made in a comparatively short span of the time. In 1916, all the great inventions of Watt, Wright and Walton had been completed. Steam had been applied to the new looms and the modern factory system had begun. Serious scholars recognized the inadequacy of the terms and protest its use, but without avail. As early as 1990, Usher prophesied the term has captured the imagination, and despite misleading connotation, it still doubtless holds its place in the literature. Then he added, but interpretation become more and more necessary. In 1921, George Irving wrote, when on looking back we find that the revolution had been going on for 2 centuries and had been in preparation for 2 centuries before that. We may begin to doubt whether the term, though useful enough when it was first adopted, has not by this time served its turn. In 1928, H.L. Bliss expressed his dissatisfaction with the term but admit, and he said, to try to discredit is now seem pedantic. The date implicit in Toynbee's lecture 1716 to 1820 were arbitrarily determined by the reign of George III, on which Toynbee had been invited to lecture. 1750 to 1850 equal arbitrary and even for no terminal date at all. On the other hand, John U. Neff would decide the idea of an industrial revolution has essential force, nevertheless found that an unprecedented acceleration of industry process began not in 750 or 760 but in the 718s. The system of human relationship that is sometimes called capitalism had its origin long before 1716 and attained its full development long after 1830. There is a danger of overlooking the essential fact of continuity. The fundamental flaw in the concept was revealed again a few years ago by the publication of an article with the provocative title Industrial Revolution in England and France. Some wrote on the question, what was England first? At a subsequent exchange between the editor and F.R. Kraft and Professor Rostow. Kraft took a stochastic view of the Industrial Revolution and identified the decisive grief that triggered its Hargreaves, Spenny Jenny and outright waterfront. He then argued that French entrepreneurs were also experimenting with textile machinery and were on an ex-ante probability basis equally likely to have made those a decisive invention, in which case France would have become the industrial nation. Rostow unfortunately accepted Kraft's premise, responding merely that the innovational spirit in Britain was stronger than in France. Besides committing some of the highest form of historical inaccuracy, the Usher had criticized more than half a century before neither Kraft nor Rostow mentioned Crompton's mold of warp steam engine. Both authors fell into the error of regarding the onset of modern industry, the Industrial Revolution, as synonymous with the mechanization of the cotton industry. Cosmetic and the new common engine both came about as a result of the search of an alternative to wood as fuel and a supplement to the water wheel for power. As early as the 12th century, Englishmen began to use coal as a domestic fuel. In spite of its noxious qualities and repeat ordinance against its use. In 1698, Thomas Savery, a military engineer, obtained a patent for a steam pump which he called approximately the miner's friend. A number of Savery's pumps were erected in the first decade of the 18th century, but the device had several practical defects, among which a tendency to explode was the most serious. It was quickly superseded in use by the atmospheric steam engine of Thomas Newcomen, first successfully applied in 1712. As late as 1817, the industrial utilization of steam engines, apart from their use in steamship and locomotive, was confined largely to mining, textile, and metallurgy. The greatest absolute increase in steam power, amounting to almost a tenfold rise, came between 1870 and the end of the 19th century. By that time, the steam engine faced competition from electricity and internal combustion engines. The answer to so broad a question cannot be given definitely in a short essay, but the elements of the answer may be sketched briefly. In any case, they are familiar. Britain shared with the rest of Europe, or at any rate Western Europe, the intellectual change that had been taking place since at least the 15th century. The rise of secularism, rationalism, and individualism, the beginning of modern science, the new idea that man could, by understanding nature, oblige it to serve his end. That's all from me. Thank you for watching and listening.